Yeah, welcome back. So today we'll learn about SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central Role-Based Permission. So let us begin with the tutorial. So what do we understand by role-based permissions? As we all know, in SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central, there are various roles. We have a role for HR manager, we have a role for HR BP, we have a role for HR admin. So there are multiple users on SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central. So SAP SuccessFactors role-based permission is used to define role and the permissions for each group of a user. In next slide, we'll see the steps to configure role-based permission. So the first step to create a role-based permission is to log into SAP SuccessFactors Admin Center, then navigate to Manage Permission Role. Once we navigate to Manage Permission Role, there we will create a new role adding a role name. Once the permission role is created, we'll add the defined permissions to these permission roles under permission settings, which may be view, edit, and so on. Once the permission role is created, the second thing we'll do is to create a permission group. So permission group is nothing but a group of users who will be having access to these permission roles. Once the permission group is created, we'll assign this permission role to a permission group. And at the last step, once the permission role is assigned to permission group, we'll define a target user on which this permission group will be performing the actions. So in this slide, I've tried to simplify the steps to configure role-based permission. So the first one, as you can see, is create permission role and assign the different permissions under permission settings. Then in the second step, create permission group. Under permission group, define various users who will have access to these permission roles. In the third step, assign this permission role to permission group, the group of users will be performing these permissions or the actions. And the fourth is to define target users and then assign these target users to the permission group. So let us have a look on some real-time SAP SuccessFactors role-based permission examples. So we have taken one example wherein we'll be creating role-based permission for HR manager. So the objective of creating role-based permission is to grant HR manager access to employees' personal and the job information. So in this case, HR manager will have the access to employees' personal data and employees' job information data. So as described in the previous slide, the first thing we'll do is to create a permission role named HR Manager Access. Then we'll assign permissions to employee data, personal information, and job information. So in permission roles, we'll be granting all these permission. Once the permission role is created, the second thing we'll do is to create a permission group. So in permission group, we'll create a group of HR managers who will have access, to these permission roles. Once the group of HR managers are created, we'll assign permission role to permission group. And at the last step, we'll define target users on which these HR managers will be performing the actions. Let us move to our next example. So in this next example, we'll be creating role-based permission for payroll team to view compensation and pay components of an employee. So the process is same. The first thing we'll do is to create a permission role named payroll access. In this payroll access permission role, we'll assign the permissions to view and edit compensation information pay components. In the third step, we'll create permission group wherein we'll tag users of the payroll department. Once the permission group and permission role is created, the fourth step we'll do is to assign permission role to a permission group. And at the last stage, we'll define target users who will be the employees on which this group of payroll team will be performing the actions. In these slides, we'll be looking at the real-time scenario wherein we are creating a permission group, and we'll look at each of the steps. So if we look here, this is the screenshot taken from the SAP SuccessFactor. Okay. So first of all, what we are creating is defining permission group. So here we are choosing this group from the people pool. In the second step, if you see, we are defining the permission role. So we'll go to admin center. From there, we'll go to manage permission roles. And from here, we can select the various permission role under permission settings. Okay. And on the at the last stage, 3, we can assign this role to a permission group. And then ultimately, we can save the changes. So this is again the same list where we are creating permission roles. Okay, so uh, while checking and unchecking these boxes, we can easily give the access to configure and view or edit these all permission roles like biographical information, national ID information, for information, and so on. Once the permissions roles are defined, the third step will grant this role by clicking on the add button to the role which we created, and at the last we'll specify the target population as well. So these were the real-time examples. I hope this session will help you. Please subscribe and like the channel for more updates on the training session. Thank you so much.